Live from the funny pages, it's Horribly Off Topic with Chris, that's me,
and Steve, that's me.
That's a bit different, and there was a from in there.
Yes, from
the funny pages. I'll see you in the funny pages. That's an expression.
You right before we started recording, we were talking about the newspaper.
Yes, we were talking about the good old newspaper. My very first job was delivering the Lowell Sun.
Oh, and we'll get to something else later that I'll remember it.
Okay.
But we'll need to talk. I mean, since we do something of the audio variety, we need to mention at least sometime today.
Yes.
The WAAF.
Oh, good. The home of Christian rock
is no longer a radio station that I would even casually listen to at this point.
Oh my Lord, that was interesting. I did not. I mean, I guess I knew. So, not to get like horribly local for anybody. That's the wrong expression. Not to get really, really local for people, but WAAF was when we were growing up one of the, I don't know, I'd say like in my mind there were kind of a canonical 4 or 5 radio stations. There was AAF,
yep.
There was BCN,
yep. Which is also gone at this point.
Yeah, there was Mix 98.5,
which I think is still there.
It might be. I don't know. That's a good question. There was Kiss 108.
Yeah, Kiss 108 is definitely still around.
Yeah, and then there was
Maddie in the Morning.
Yeah, then there was WFNX. Now, if you got further outside, you ended up with like 92.9, which was I forget where that was, and then you had the River.
The River's still here too
in Haverhill.
92.5, the River.
92.5. Okay, yeah, and 92.9 was WBOS. At any rate, the sort of canonical 5.
You forgot about the Eagle 93.7.
Yeah,
which became Star 93.7, which became something else, and then it became the FM equivalent of the Red Sox station.
Ah, okay.
Or WEEI, yeah.
Gotcha. I knew. I'm sorry to the fine folks at the Eagle.
I remember in biology class, we would sing classic rock songs.
Oh, it's always good to jock rock your life.
Doing our lab report or doing our labs or whatever.
Yeah.
Not reports. We would be like doing the lab, and then Mr. Prescott would come over and be like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Singing classic rock?" And he'd come over and sing with us.
That's a good teacher. I think that's a good teacher who,
He was great.
Yeah. Did I have that fella? I don't know if I did.
I had him sophomore year biology.
I can't remember if I had that gentleman. I had Mr. Sherwood somewhere along the line. That's one.
Wasn't
person.
Haywood?
Yeah, no.
Jablomi.
Mr. Sherwood and Mrs. Mammalus and I forget who else, but those are 2 science teachers.
I took what the fuck? Freshman year, you just take like science, right?
Yeah. Is it? Was it Earth Science? I don't know.
I had Earth Science in 8th grade with.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So Earth Science is 8th grade. So maybe it is just like a science. Just
I think I was just
survey
plain old science. Then I did biology sophomore year. I didn't do chemistry. I said, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I do not want to study this at all. Like, I don't want to have to memorize the periodic table or some such shit. And I'm like, that is something that I'm never going to be able to do.
Yeah.
So I said no. And then I took physics senior year with Mrs. Nahas.
Did you test out of chemistry? Were you able to?
No, I just didn't take it.
Oh, interesting. So you were able to take physics senior year without having taken chemistry.
I mean, one does not preclude the other.
I realize that in logic, but in the way that high school curricula are planned, very often if you don't take them in the sequence, you don't get to take the next one.
Well,
So even though you might say American history and European history are not at all, I mean, they are related at a certain point, you might not be able to take European, I forget which one would come first, but
chemistry was just too much memorization for me, and that's not something that I've ever been like super good at.
Right.
And and physics is mostly math. So
Yeah.
I was just like, all right, if I know the equation, like, or have a general idea,
Yeah.
and I should be able to figure out what the physics of it is all. I mean, this is high school physics. This
Right,
isn't fucking. I got my bachelor's or master's in it. I have a basic knowledge of physics.
You understand what Einstein talked about on some level.
Well, I understood that we had a Van de Graaff generator in the room, and I would constantly want it turned on, and then Mrs. Nahas would often put the kibosh on that. But not always. She would sometimes say, "Okay,
we'll put the
we'll get the Van de Graaff generator going, and then everybody's hair can go cuckoo bananas."
Oh, okay. I was gonna say for those of us plebes in the room, plebes would that be the right word? Plebeians.
No.
For those of us who are dummies, I was going to ask you to explain what a Van de Graaff generator did, but I think you just did.
I got around to it.
Yeah. So you listened to or you sang classic rock in biology. Outside with Mr. Prescott.
Yeah. And it's funny, like Mr. Prescott's wife, I believe, used to be, if not still is. Well, I don't know if it's still a radio station, but I think it would. WHOB out of New Hampshire. I think she was on their executive board. Or something like that. So.
Now, outside of singing songs in biology class, I know we've talked about this at some point before, but I have a terrible memory. Which of those radio stations back in the day was the one that you would turn to most frequently?
I would have to steer towards BCN.
Yeah.
Because I was a big Stern fan.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the station that he was on.
Yeah, he was on in the mornings back then? Or
Well, it was weird because, like, I think it was Mark Perreno that was on in the mornings in BCN?
Yeah.
And so Stern was on in the evenings.
Okay, right. That's right.
But then once Perreno wasn't on BCN anymore, or in the mornings anymore, or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, at some
point after
he
gave a kid a PlayStation, and
at some point it switched. That's what I was trying to remember.
So like I remember early high school he was on in the evenings, but then late high school he was on in the mornings.
Yeah, and then
I would listen to it for like. For like when I finally got my car and I could drive it to school for all of 5 seconds before
you were there.
Realized that I couldn't really do that anymore because I didn't. Oh, did I pirate a parking pass? I don't know what the hell I did. I think most of the time it was Garen picking me up because his parents had moved to Florida,
right?
And so he was staying with his uncle to finish off the school year.
Got it. Yep.
So he was picking me up on the way.
Right. To track the history or the history of BCN from there, eventually Stern went off to Sirius. Mm-hmm. Was he on Sirius? He went or XM, whichever it was.
It was Sirius.
It was Sirius.
And Opie and Anthony were on XM.
Okay,
and then there was a merger.
But weren't Opie and Anthony?
They were on AAF.
Okay, right. And then they came back and they were on BCN in the mornings where Stern...
No.
Okay.
Educate me. Know your radio history, Chris.
I thought I did, but
Opie and Anthony kicked off the air on April Fool's Day.
Right.
For saying that Mayor Menino had died in a car
remember
accident.
that. And what year was that?
I believe it was either 99 or 2000.
Okay. All right.
And then they were hired, and I'm thinking, like, from what I've heard them say, I'm assuming they already had the deal to go to WNEW in New York.
Oh, okay, right.
And
I remember
this was kind of a way for them to get out of their contract at WBC or at WAAF.
Right.
And so they went there.
Yep.
And then they had their sex in a church, but so they did okay. They were on in the afternoons. So
right.
They were afternoon drive and they were basically working for the same company because WNEW and I forget K-Rock. K-Rock is where Stern was. And so yeah, right. Like they're both owned by CBS. But,
Yeah.
So there was like, Stern was not happy about that because he was like, these guys suck. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
And there was a war that Opie and Anthony couldn't fight, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so they couldn't really talk about Stern too much on the show until they actually got out of working for the same company. Then they ended up working for the same company again.
Right.
But yeah, so they were on NEW, got syndicated. I think a couple of markets at first, and then I think Philly and Boston were a couple of those, and so they ended up being on the same station in Boston. So like Stern was on in the morning, Opie and Anthony in the afternoon.
Okay, yep, that part I remember. And then by like 2001, 2002, he was leaving, and they switched, or
no, they like. It was late. Like Stern was on regular radio for longer. I think it was. I think I was still in college at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think it was. 2004, 2005.
Okay. So maybe I remember hearing them in the afternoons.
I'm talking about Stern was 2004, 2005.
Well, both. Yeah, I remember.
But O&A got kicked off in 2001. I think.
Right. Okay.
Or maybe it was 2002.
Yeah.
Wait, no, it was definitely 2002. It was the summer in between when I went to North Adams and when I a lot of my life has been around listening to radio talk shows.
Right. That was when they were initially kicked off of AAF, or that's when they were.
No, that was when they were. So it was 2002. In between, it was the summer in between when I went to North Adams and Framingham. So because like it was the end of the summer. And they had their Sex in the Church thing. Well, it wasn't a Sex in the Church thing. It was a Sam Adams sponsored event for people to go run around New York and have sex in different public places. And each of these public places was given a point value.
Right.
And so,
So somebody had sex in a church.
St. Pat's was one of them. They got that couple got caught. And a whole hullabaloo. And the problem was it wasn't an FCC violation because it wasn't like them having sex in the church was never broadcast.
Right.
They basically came out of the church or whatever with like security following them saying that they did it.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm obviously getting bits and pieces of my history mixed up. I think the key point here
is that newspapers.
No. I mean, so radio wise, you followed kind of where the talk shows were.
Yeah, but like, so if I was listening to music like back in high school, I would often listen to FNX.
Okay. Yeah. And that's where I
wasn't super into Opie and Anthony when they were still on AAF. Okay. With good reason. They weren't great back then.
Yeah. I don't think I had any loyalty to any of the stations. I remember station hopping a lot.
Or the Eagle. I would listen to the Eagle or FNX. If I wanted to listen to new music, it would be FNX because I was like alt rock kid. I guess.
Well, my first couple jobs out of college, I remember listening to FNX and Julie Kramer.
Yeah, that sounds like a person that was on there.
I would listen to FNX for a decent part of the day at work. I remember I won my very first scanner by playing a contest that was on FNX, and I had to go over to Newbury Street to what was then a like mom and pop Apple Mac shop. To get it. This is years and years before the Apple Store.
And then you created your perfect woman on your computer.
I did not. No. But I remember back in high school, I just, if a commercial came on, I'd change the dial to try and find something that still had music on. I would just surf because I had very particular like songs that I liked and songs that I didn't like. So no particular loyalty. None of the DJs are people who were sort of fixtures for me. And I don't know what that says about me, if anything.
You're fickle. You're a fickle individual.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I was saying earlier, like CBS owned half the stations, and Clear Channel owned half the
Right.
stations. Unless the station you were loyal to
Yeah.
is the River
Yeah, you're
or NPR, then
yeah. And I don't know. It's one of those things that, like broadcast TV, I don't really see the point anymore.
of watching television,
No, of
listening to the radio.
of regular radio, or television. Anything supported by commercials, I don't see the point of, because it's so easy to watch plenty of stuff or listen to plenty of stuff without commercials that I'm just like, why does anybody do it?
There's I'm like, I tolerate commercials, except there's a couple of exceptions that I have. If you use a fucking alarm clock in your fucking ad, I am changing the channel immediately.
Okay. Do you have an example?
Well, it's just like, I think McDonald's, your favorite.
They're not my favorite. They just have.
They keep on having like fucking breakfast. Oh, wake up with McDonald's. And it's
okay.
like, no, don't put a fucking alarm clock noise. This is not something I want to hear. That is like one of the worst sounds in the world. And there's a reason for it. It's so you get out of fucking bed to turn it off.
Yeah. So they're just using it in regular.
Just like, oh, like, wake up and have your Egg McMuffin. Fuck you. I'm not doing any of that.
This is on radio or TV?
Most of the time, radio.
Okay.
But, there's occasionally a television ad that has fucking, and I'm like, fuck you, and I'll mute it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I remember when.
Although I keep on like, because we'll be watching things on Hulu.
Yeah.
And I keep on, like, we'll go into the kitchen to get something.
Yeah.
And then I'll pause it, and then I'll forget that I just paused the ad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shit, we gotta get back and watch that Subway ad.
I remember. I don't know if this is still the case, but and I know I've talked about this before. Oh, hold on.
Bless you.
Thanks. Yeah. No, I remember that when Spotify first came to the U.S., I tried it out like lots of people, and then I gave it up really fast. Unlike lots of people stuck with it. But I remember trying it out, and I remember trying to go and hit the mute button on my computer while the ads were playing. And at least at that point, Spotify was smart enough to know that I'd hit the mute button, and it would stop the ad, and it would say, "This ad will resume once you unmute your computer." And I was just like, "What the?"
Well, just turn it down most of the way then.
That's part of the. I mean, yeah, yes, absolutely. Or just buy the version that gets rid of the ads.
Or suffer through the ads.
Yeah, no, don't suffer through the ads. Ads.
I'm fine with that. I am so far from being swayed by advertising. There's like only a rare occasion where something will actually hit me. I mean, there might be some subliminal shit that some illegal subliminal shit that's hitting me that has maybe reached into my brain and then made me want something. But for the most part, like I see. Like, come down to Ira Toyota and get yourself a fucking deal. I'm like, fuck you, no.
Well, see, it's not.
And this is the contrarian. That's the contrarian in me. Like, you show me an ad for something, and it's not like it's not like I'm spending more money because I'm looking at this. They're wasting their time on me.
See, although I am easily swayed by a lot of things, it's not so much that I don't want to be swayed. It's that I find them a waste of fucking time. I'm like, why do I have to sit through this? I will gladly pay money to not have to sit through this.
Well,
because my life is short.
There's a sense that it could be a palate cleanser to whatever program you're watching.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so maybe it's that I don't watch enough programs. I don't.
You just watch the same movies over and over again.
Palate cleanser. I've been watching the Deuce on the HBO Now, and
well, there's no ads on that anyways.
That's the kind of show I like. No
ads.
Although
they do tend to show trailers and ads for other shows on HBO prior to shows.
And I can skip those, and I often do. Although every once in a while, now that I'm not trying actively so that's one instance where I have been swayed. So when I was trying to keep the budget down on streaming, I would actively avoid those because I'd basically be subscribing to HBO for either Game of Thrones or Westworld and then stopping it as soon as it was over. So I didn't want to be swayed by some new thing. Now I'm just keeping HBO around, so I don't mind seeing those as much.
Okay.
Because they do make shows that I like. And, you know.
I mean, for Hulu, the ads, they just, give us a chance to take a pee.
Yeah.
And,
I can always
pause it so when we come back, we can watch them.
I can always pause my Hulu with no ads, and then I go have a pee, and I come back, and I unpause it, and I don't have to sit through an ad.
I just, I'm cheap.
No, it's
I rather pay, like, I don't know how much more it is for no ads, but
yeah, you'd rather pay less.
Rather pay less.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not saying you're doing it wrong. I just hope you're not saying that I'm doing it wrong.
I mean, you're doing it good for you, but
right.
if the end goal is to save money, then you're not doing it that good.
I mean, if the end goal was to save money, I'd do a whole bunch of things different. But I can't. So I don't watch Hulu. I barely watch Netflix.
Okay, so if you don't watch Hulu, then why do you care about the ads?
Steph watches Hulu, and if I am sitting there trying to get something done while she's watching Hulu, the last thing I want is, aside from some annoying Hulu program, to have to then go to an annoying ad and an annoying Hulu
program. Learning about shore swipe technology is something that you really should.
Hey, should we talk about my vacation?
Didn't we already do that?
We talked about the first day.
Oh.
How
many more days were there?
I see. There's like 7.
7?
Yeah, but we had like what, 15, 20? I don't know. We don't have to talk about it at all.
We could talk about it. We have apparently 6 more days to talk about it.
No. I was going to try to move through relatively faster.
All right.
I was trying to think about some topics that we could get horribly off of.
Okay, cool.
One of them is,
so newspapers.
Yeah, newspapers. Let's talk about newspapers instead, or dead radio stations.
We were talking about just doing a live podcast.
Yes,
we keep on bringing this up occasionally, and it's just never come to fruition. I'd like to someday, maybe. But like you say, when this time when it came up, you suggested we could put some ads in the paper.
Yes,
because people that listen to podcasts,
they read the newspaper. They sure do.
So what do you, when you listen to podcasts, do you like skip through people reading their like stamps.com's ads?
That's a good point. I don't listen to any podcasts except ours right now.
Oh, okay. Well, because I know Harmontown's over, but I know that Dan Harmon didn't do the ads, but like Spencer and Jeff would do them, and they would often have a lot of fun with the ads, and so. And that's what you have to do. Mm-hmm. And Bill Burr with losing many an advertiser because he was having a little bit too much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we all remember his infamous Sherry's Berries read.
Did we ever get around, speaking of Bill Burr, did we ever get around to talking about
The Mandalorian?
Yeah. Well, we did talk about The Mandalorian in general, I think, but I remember when I had seen The Mandalorian and you hadn't, or I was sort of a few episodes in and you hadn't started. I had seen the episode with Bill Burr in it, and I wanted to talk to you about it, but then I didn't
know that he was on the fucking show because I am like perpetually 2 months behind on podcasts.
Yeah.
So like he is just like I think I'm listening to the around Christmas time.
Yeah. Okay. And he's just talking about.
He's talking about his episode airing, and everybody said it was great. And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. What did you think?
I thought like that particular episode, just was a lot of fun. And it was
hell
just
yeah.
like, and it was like, and it was just, and it made me look at the movie that had just come out.
Mm-hmm.
That was very Star Wars related.
Yeah.
And I was just like. You don't have to like have a million locations and a crazy set or like they were basically in like a pretty bare bones set.
Yeah, yeah.
Like for most of the episode, and it was very entertaining throughout.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you something about that. I saw the most amazing fucking video that the other day. It was about Jon Favreau was narrating along with some people from ILM, which, if people are not familiar, is Industrial Light and Magic. It's a Lucasfilm company that does special effects.
SFX.
And the technology they were using on The Mandalorian was not in every episode, and it sounds like they used it more and more as the season went on, was essentially this circular room, right, in which the entire wall was an LED screen, and you could project onto that LED screen stuff from they were using Unreal? They were using a game engine plus their computer graphics stuff, so that they might create a set one day, and the next day, once the set is created, they could load that up on the screen. And so when you're seeing the cast of the Mandalorian on that ship, in the hangar bay, the actors are all there, and part of the ship is there, and the rest of it is not added in post. The rest of it is there on the screen behind them, and it's being filmed live in the camera. And I'm not doing this justice, but
it's pretty exceptional, just because I remember trying to take video of a television screen, and an old tube television, and there was often a glare and some other bullshit. Like even modern TVs, you get a little bit of a glare or whatever when you but if it's dark enough in the room, it'll look fine,
right?
But
but it occurred to me, like, well, why would they, reasons why they might have started to do this, because they're doing a TV show and they want to have Star Wars quality backgrounds and things. But if you look at by that point in the Mandalorian season, the Mandalorian, the titular Mandalorian, has his newer, shinier armor, and I try to imagine doing fucking green screen on that, like, if you were filming it all on a green screen, and then what it must have involved back in the day to have the green screen. You got to put the shit on the green screen. Then you also have to do the reflections on every surface of that guy. And they didn't have to worry about that because all of the set was right fucking there, reflecting off of his armor and captured in camera. It's like a 5-minute long video. If I remember, I will put it in the show notes. It is fucking amazing. And I can't wait to see what they continue to do with shit like that. And it did make me think of, not just the prequels, but I remember I don't know why it's always movies that are generally regarded as bad that I have these memories of, but the behind the scenes of The Hobbit, and seeing Ian McKellen nearly in fucking tears as Gandalf, as he's sitting in a room separate from all the fucking hobbits, and he's having to act against a fucking green screen, and he has no idea what's going on. And if you could take him and put him in this scenario, right, where he could see everything, go back even further, go back to the fucking prequels, and you don't have them acting against big, giant, green, whatever. You have them acting against shit they can see. It's not going to solve all the fucking problems, but it might solve some. So I'm just I'm very intrigued with what they'll be able to do with it.
It seems cool. And also Bill Burr in his making fun of Gungan joke was weird.
Yes. Oh god. When spoilers for The Mandalorian, briefly, when in that episode they made it seem like all of those characters had been killed, I was like, God damn it, fucking Bill Burr was amazing, and I want to see Bill Burr on this show again.
Right.
And then, you find out at the end they are not dead, and they are floating out in space on a prison ship, but I think Bill Burr can get himself out of that.
Yeah, that would be neat if we get a season 2 episode with him back. And I'd also Better Call Saul starts again tonight.
Oh, nice.
Yesterday, if you're listening to this when it comes out.
Right.
I'm hoping that maybe he gets a chance to come back as I forget what the fuck his character's name was, but but he was on the Breaking Bad, so
there you go. Is this the last Better Call Saul, like the last season?
Yeah, I think so. So this might
be
lead to Walt coming in his office.
Gotcha. I having not finished Breaking Bad.
Well, I mean, you know that.
Yeah, no, I know it's a prequel.
You know that Saul Goodman was his lawyer.
Yeah, I remember hearing about the premise. I could have made a Star Wars segue in talking about my vacation. But,
Galaxy's Edge.
But, you know, we don't have to talk about my vacation because I could tell.
Let's talk about your vacation, Chris. Day 2, what did you do?
Day 2, we went to the Animal Kingdom.
Oh.
And I think
the Animal Kingdom pirates?
No. I think the theme that I wanted to get to, and this ties into Galaxy's Edge as well, is my younger daughter having, previous to the vacation, saying, oh, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this. And then we got there, and on this second day was the first instance of her really sort of screwing up our plans because she got terrified at the last minute. And in that sense, I should rephrase, because it's not really her screwing up our plans. It's us not understanding where our daughter was screwing up our plans. Because she said she was ready for some of these things, but then we'd wait in a long fucking line and not so much. So to set the stage, we arrived early at Animal Kingdom, which is one of the 4 Disney parks, and it was raining. Now
in Florida,
I know, but it was this was our very first day. Not too much rain, a little bit, but not too much. Our second, third, fourth day, especially the second and third day, lots of fucking rain.
How did they not figure out how to do like some sort of domed theme park at this point?
You know what? Maybe they're going to work on it at some point, but
we could have the biodome, and then like you keep all that coronavirus in there.
Well, you know what? We've been watching the on Disney Plus. There's a series called the Imagineering.
Biodome? No,
it's called the Imagineering Story, and you can look. It tracks the history of the parks basically, and they go through these periods of tremendous innovation when there's somebody who's creative at the helm of the company, and then tremendous stagnation when a more business-minded person is at the head.
So an Eisner is what you're saying.
Well, Eisner actually gives them a fair amount, but when Eisner gets sick, and anyway, it's a very interesting program. But I would say the reason that they haven't had a dome yet is because they keep having this back and forth where somebody will be like, all right, you guys got free reign. And then somebody will come in and say, we got to do this all for like a quarter of the price tag. You've been doing everything else. And now they're back to kind of, you've got free reign, but they're trying to fix all the fucking mistakes that were made when they were being asked to do everything.
So I just want to ask, where's my Wuzzles ride?
Maybe it will be an Animal Kingdom.
There are 2 animals mixed into one. Shouldn't that be an Animal Kingdom?
If it was going to be any place, that's where it would be. But instead of making the Wuzzles area, what they did a few years ago was they made Avatar. They made the Pandora, the land of Avatar, or the world of Avatar. Not Avatar: The Last Airbender, but Avatar, the James Cameron film.
That he's apparently planned 600 sequels to.
I think it's 5, but yeah.
It's like the original one came out in what, 2008?
It was a long fucking time ago. I don't remember, but yeah.
But yeah, that was fucking 12 years ago. Where's the next one, Dick?
Yeah, it's a really good
I haven't seen it, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to see your goddamn Titanic either.
All right.
I will watch Terminator 2 again, though.
Have you seen Avatar?
No, okay, I have never. I've played the pinball machine.
Okay, well, so there are 2 rides in Avatar Land. which I know is not the real name for it, but I'm gonna call it.
Is it
Avatar.
Navi Express?
It was the Navi River Journey.
Oh,
And the Flight of Passage is the other one. Now, Flight of Passage is still 2 years later such a popular ride that by about half an hour into the park opening, it's a 2-hour wait, or a 3-hour wait, or a 4-hour wait. So you want to get what they call the fast pass. But when we were booking,
I hope they play that song by the Talking Heads like while everybody's waiting in line the entire time. It was like still waiting, just like on a loop.
I don't think I don't think they're doing that yet, but maybe. So at any rate, we got there early because we were not able to secure a fast pass for said ride, and we wanted to be able to ride it. So this was our strategy: was, for the rides we couldn't get a fast pass for, we were going to show up early at the park that day and try to get in line early. We weren't going to run as we saw people do the moment the rope dropped. We saw people in the fucking pouring rain booking it, probably on their way to a twisted, if not broken, fucking ankle. To get.
Did you see like considerable amount of injuries by the time you got there? And you did a Nelson from The Simpsons.
No, I did not. But at any rate, so we got there. It was a very long line, or it seemed like it was a very long line by the time we got there, but it was actually moving at a very decent clip. And in fact, they let us start going before the park was even officially open. So by the time we got to the beginning of the queue, where they start telling you a little bit of a story, the park wasn't even officially open yet. So we were in good shape. We were in line for this Flight of Passage, and you get all the way to the end. And Melody's been kind of fidgety the whole time. She's not really loving Jim Cameron. She's a girl after your own heart. She's like, you know what? I'll watch Terminator 2, but I'm not.
Yeah, she's going to watch a fucking, like, a movie about a murderous robot.
Terminator 2, of all of his movies, it's... Yeah.
There's lots of F-bombs and, like, arms getting blown off and shit. Like,
all right, so she,
I'm sure that won't cause any problems later.
No. As long as it's not a sinkhole in the ground like The Good Place, that shit traumatized her. There's just like a sinkhole in an episode of The Good Place.
I think so.
We've talked about this. Anyway, so she's at the age where she's getting easily traumatized by things. But we were thinking,
is there an age for that?
She used to be pretty fucking fearless, and so I don't know when it changed, but like in the last year or so, she's been getting a lot more fearful of things. So I think there is an age, but I don't know what it is. So somewhere in that year between when you turn 9 and when you turn 10, seems like she turned a corner and a lot of things started to scare her. Whereas before, kid might run out into traffic if you weren't careful. Like she was.
There's supposed to be a little bit of fear because
yeah.
So you don't do shit like that.
No, I know. So we were always on the other end of being like, we need to get her to be kind of afraid of some things, and now it's kind of like, it would be great if she wasn't afraid of everything. I think there are floating mountains in Avatar in the movie, and they make the landscape in the park look like floating mountains. So I think that was part of it, because she kept thinking things were going to fall down on us. At any rate, so we get all the way up to the ride. We've waited 20, 30 minutes.
Still waiting.
Yeah. And the ride is this group of sort of bicycle-looking things that you sit on, where you're basically going to be replicating the experience of sitting on one of those dragons from the movie.
Oh.
And she sees that.
Do you have to hook your little butt, your tail into its butt, or I don't know, is that what they do?
No, but they project it into your consciousness is the idea. There's just a big screen that pops up in front of you. You got 3D glasses on, and you're bent over as if you were on a bicycle. But she saw that, and that was like the bridge too far. And she was like,
more like a bridge too short.
She was like, I'm out. And then Kaylee, my older daughter, who had been looking forward to this for a while, was like, I'm out. And now I'm like, all right, I guess we're all leaving. And Steph's like, no, you stay. I was like, but, and the argument was such that like we had to make a decision because there's 5 other people waiting for us. And then I think there were even more people on the, like, one room over. And so Steph took the girls, and we had not had the chance to communicate about the fact that a lot of these rides have a thing called rider swap, which is if parents have this situation, you tell the person on the ride, we're having this situation, and then Steph could have gone on it after me. And so like she would have watched the kids, then I go out and watch the kids, and she goes on it without having to wait in line again.
Okay.
But she didn't know that, so she just left. And so I'm sitting there and I'm trying to enjoy the ride, but I'm also like, well, my wife probably liked this movie even more than I did, and she's not getting to go on it. And so get outside, it's fucking pouring rain again. The ride was great. It's fucking pouring rain again. And we try to sort of now go about our day. But
they have you can get a bicycle and like a blue bike and ride it around the city.
I can put a tail on the back.
Yeah, you could put a tail on the back of it, ride a bicycle around, hit a pedestrian.
Well, that's what bicyclists do to me. So
that was what I was alluding to, Chris.
I know. I just wanted to remind people that that's what you were alluding to. So the rest of the day, it's rainy, but we see the other ride, which is very peaceful and calm. It's a riverboat ride through the fluorescent jungle, which is all inside, so no chance of actual rain. We go and we see the Festival of the Lion King, which is a good show, and we go on a river raft ride because we weren't already wet enough. But in fact, the fucking river raft ride, we didn't get wet at all. Go figure.
Was there somebody it was like a river boat? Was there
you ever been on one where maybe it's like a circular? So is the one at Canopy, the Revolutionary War one that's like in the back there?
The Boston Tea Party?
Yeah, is that
just
a
goes
circle?
straight fucking down.
I know. Well, that's basically what this took us up a little bit. We went around for a little bit, and then we had one big
There was
drop.
no little bit on the Boston Tea Party. You're just like, all right, here we go. Now we're going down a fucking waterfall.
Right.
Now we're done.
The point of my question though was, is the ride vehicle for that, is it like a circle or is it like a straight?
I think it's just a straight line.
Okay, all right. So in this case, you're on a circle.
It's been so long since I've been to Canopy in the summertime.
Right. Oh yeah, you wouldn't have gone.
I forget that those rides exist. And I just don't get it why they closed the Haunted Mine.
That is fucking weird. It's an indoor ride, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't.
Indoor ride that is of the haunted variety.
It's a dark ride.
Yeah. I mean, you're just going down on your little mine cart, and then there's a fucking boulder about to fall on you, and it's like, ah.
But they close it for the.
Don't go on that with your daughter. She'll be like, boulders. And dynamite.
And oh gosh, yeah. Well, the saving grace of that day was they have a little thing called the Wilderness Explorers, which if you've ever seen the Pixar film Up, Wilderness Explorers are taken from that. There's the kid who's basically a Boy Scout, but he's not a Boy Scout. He's a Wilderness Explorer.
Yeah, I mean, they they don't have any money anyways.
And
too many kid touchers.
So the kids got to go around the park looking for little Wilderness Explorer badges, and that's kind of what we did. I was telling Becky beforehand, one of the other things we did at Animal Kingdom was a thing called the animation experience, where they teach you how to draw something.
Animation domination. You had to draw some Simpsons episodes for Fox.
No, I don't.
Is this how they keep on churning out a fucking television show for 30 years?
That's part of that's what Disney is doing. Yeah, they take us to the back of the park. They put us in a dark room and have us draw Bart for 20 minutes.
Did you ever watch Tiny Toons?
No, Tiny Toons was my brother's thing.
How about Animaniacs? Was that also?
That was also my brother's thing. I was not allowed.
All right. Well,
we're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony.
Yeah. Tiny Toons had different
nurse.
No, that was Animaniacs.
Wow. Okay. I didn't get to actually watch them, so I mixed them up.
They're on Hulu. You could watch them anytime without ads.
Okay.
So, but they had a bunch of different animation studios, and there was just one. I need to figure out what it was. I'm looking it up right now, and I'm trying to stall.
This is on not Animaniacs, Tiny Toons.
Tiny Toons. Well, I think the same animation.
It crossed over because those two were in the same universe. right? Were Pinky and the Brain originally on Tiny Toons?
No, they were on Animaniacs.
Well, I know they were on Animaniacs, but like, what? There was something that crossed over there, wasn't there? I don't know.
No, it was Animaniacs and then Pinky and the Brain.
Right. Okay.
But Pinky and the Brain were on Animaniacs,
Okay.
and then they became their own goddamn show.
Right. So Tiny Toons never crossed over with Animaniacs.
No.
Okay.
At least I don't think so.
Yeah. All right. They'd have the Laugh Olympics of Tiny Toons.
Yeah, okay, I found it. Kennedy Cartoons.
Kennedy Cartoons.
So this was one of the animation studios
Okay.
that produced like shows, and this is going to be hard to explain.
Okay.
But like a lot of the times, like the characters would be significantly off model, and they would always have their arms to their side. And I'm standing up right now.
Okay, Steve is
with
standing
their hands
up.
like arms like facing the torso.
Okay. And their
the
fingers
hands
are
pointed outwards.
Okay.
And they would just do this weird friggin' dance while standing like that.
And that was all from Kennedy
Cartoons.
Okay. So Kennedy Cartoons was not a very good animation studio.
No. They did a terrible, and they also worked on Darkwing Duck, Goof Troop.
Oh wow.
Raw Toonage. I've never heard of that.
Ooh, that doesn't sound good at all.
Everybody's favorite, Bonkers.
Raw Toonage.
Aladdin, Fantastic Four, What a Cartoon, and The Wacky World of Tex Avery.
All right, Raw Toonage down. That sounds like a show title right there. I don't know. Well, it already is a show title, an episode title. Raw Toonage. No. So we were instructed by a gentleman who works for Walt Disney Animation Studios on how
to draw for Kennedy Cartoons.
No. But he it wasn't an animation. It was more just draw something, right? And as I was telling Becky, it's for all ages. So you're dealing with people with little kids. You're dealing with their grandparents. Who maybe haven't picked up a pencil to draw anything in a very long time.
Some punk teenagers that are drawing dicks.
And yeah, so the guy's got to deal with all skill levels. And one of the things...
And dick levels.
I can't make that the... I wish I oh, no, like, well, I'm going to write it down.
Raw Toonage, I think, could be the episode title.
Dick levels. Yeah, no, so he tells us that we're going to be drawing a famous Disney villain. Scar from The Lion King is who we're going to be drawing. And one of the things that he points out that now, ever since, I've not been able to ignore is that villains, at least done the Disney way, but I think based on what Becky was playing when I got here, across the board, villains are often made up of V's. So if you look at the way that a villain is drawn, there's usually a lot of places to put a V in there, which, gets into our subconscious. Villain.
And, use consummate V's. Consummate!
Consummate? What is a consummate V?
It was from Strong Bad. It was when the Trogdor episode, when he was drawing Trogdor for the first time.
Consummate V's.
And put a couple of wings on there, make him a wingaling dragon.
Yeah. So anyway, we did that. I forget how we sort of wrapped up that day, but
I'll take it.
They were on their way out, the Steph and the kids, and I was able to grab myself a fast pass, a one-person fast pass for the Expedition Everest, which is the roller coaster at Animal Kingdom. And maybe it was because it had been a stressful day. That's how we wrapped up, because the Avatar Land looks very different at night. But Melody wanted no part in going in it. So what could have been like a half an hour thing, like we kept trying to tell her, like, if you just let us all go together and you chill out, like, you can be home and not home, but you can be back at the hotel and in bed in like half an hour. But if you make me sit out here outside the outskirts, wait for Kaylee and Mom to get back, then it's going to take them half an hour, and then it's going to take me half an hour. But she's like, I don't care. I'm not going back in there. So Steph and Kaylee went and looked at the cool Avatar Land. Then I went, and then I said, hey, I can get a fast pass for the roller coaster. And they're like, go nuts. You've been a very supportive daddy and husband all day. Go have your fun on the roller coaster.
Oh, you're such a supportive daddy.
Oh, you're such a... Anyway, so I went over to the roller coaster, and I had a fuck of a good time. When was the last time you were on a roller coaster, Steve?
This past year at Canopy Lake.
Was it on the rickety old one or the bear one?
I went on the bear one and the rickety old one.
Yeah, I want to go on the rickety old one again. I remember that one being really fun.
Yeah, it's good. I did not go on the corkscrew. That was that one always just messes up my neck. So
yeah, I remember going on that one when I was younger and because that one does have an invert that does go upside down. Right?
Well, so does the bear one, but I think the bear one is newer and better designed, so it doesn't fuck with your neck as much.
Yeah, older coasters with inversions I think are not good. But they figured out something in like the 90s or the 2000s where they got it nailed now.
I remember we went to Cedar Point when I was 16.
Yeah,
maybe I was 15.
Where's that?
Ohio. Actually, I think I was 15.
Okay.
And we waited in line. I mean, it wasn't fucking Disney lines, but we waited in line for a little while for this one called the Raptor. It's one of their new roller coasters, and my mom was not doing so great. She was just like, "Nah, I don't know if I should go on." I'm like, "Come on, just go on." So we go on the ride, and she literally ran from the ride into the ladies' room
to throw up.
Yeah.
God. Well, I did not make any of my family go on any of the thrill rides.
But that's never been a thing for me. Like going on a roller coaster has never made me sick. But like you put me in a fucking thing like that is a teacup that is just spinning a little bit.
Yeah,
I will fucking be sick for the rest of the day.
Now, when you do the roller coaster, are you an arms up person? Are you a screamer? Like what's your roller coaster experience? Like what do you like to do?
I mean, it's fun to put your arms up every once in a while.
Agreed.
I'm not a for realsies screamer.
Mm-hmm.
I will go. Ah!
Yeah, that is me typically. But the reason I ask is I got on this roller coaster and I don't know what it was. I had a very similar experience when I went and visited my brother and I was out there for a conference in 2006. I want to say.
Was it 2006 con?
It was the 2006 con, yeah, and I
celebrating a year.
I flew down from San Francisco, where I was at 2006 con, visited my brother in LA, and he took me to Disneyland for the day, Disneyland and California Adventure, and every thrill ride there, I was screaming, hands in the air, like I was like a little kid.
It was like midweek too, and like off season, so you probably didn't have the lines that were at Disney World this past.
It was fantastic, and. I felt similarly getting on the Expedition Everest this past vacation. So I had hands up and I screamed so fucking loud that the next day I could barely talk.
How long was the ride?
It's not that long a ride, but it's one of their longer. Like but I screamed really loud. Like I was.
Were you screaming while you were waiting in line the entire time too?
No, I did. But I think part of what made me not be able to talk the next day is the second roller coaster in the course of less than like 12 hours that I did, where I also screamed, which was a roller coaster called the Slinky Dog Dash. So the next morning, we had our second morning of...
That sounds like a baby roller coaster.
Well, we had our second morning of ridiculous rain and our second morning of getting up really early because we wanted to get on the brand new ride at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So this third day, we were headed to Hollywood Studios, which is where the new Star Wars land is. And spoilers, folks, we got about 7 minutes left in the show. I don't know if I'll get to talk about all of Star Wars land.
Oh, no.
So maybe you're going to have to tune in next week. But so in order...
A vacation that you took in December, we are finally getting around to in late February.
But it's interesting, right? We're having conversations about roller coasters and... You look unconvinced.
No, it's fine. It's perfect.
Jesus,
if people would write us emails, they could tell us if this is good or not.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. hot@clarkwoods.com or hot@horriblyofftopic.com. Okay, so to get on, even still now near the end of February, to get on to this second of the two Star Wars rides. To get on to the second of the two Star Wars rides, which is called Rise of the Resistance. You have to get into the park pretty much at the...
What is up with this, like, you know, Galaxy's Edge, Rise of the Resistance?
Coming full circle. Oh, no, that part that I'm talking about was before the show. That was the test where we're talking about Morning Wood and Morning Woodbury.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why Galaxy's Edge or any of these things, but what I do know is that in order to get on the ride, you basically had to get to the park at opening. You had to be inside the park with all members of your party. So you couldn't be like, I'm going to go early, honey. You and the kids come in like 2 hours. Nope. If you want to go on this ride together, you all have to be there.
Well, that was like me last weekend when I got to the diner before Brian and they
wouldn't see you.
They reluctantly sat me because there wasn't a wait when I got there. But then when Brian arrived, there was almost a wait. So like
geez.
they were giving me the dirty eye.
They gave you the stink eye.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, where's your party? And I'm like, I'll pay for another tea. I don't know, fucking
give me a break.
He's late. I was late too.
Yeah.
But not as late.
So we got there. It's pouring rain. Kaylee has worn terrible shoes for the pouring rain. In fact, we soon discover has not packed any shoes.
Were they like wooden shoes?
No, they were just her like regular sneakers, but she did not realize how bad they would be for Florida weather. So
yeah, you got to get some booties.
So we got in there. It's pouring rain. We get our chance to get on the Star Wars ride later in the day, which is awesome. And then Kaylee and Steph decide, all right, we're going to go back to the hotel and get her new shoes, which, spoilers, didn't happen because they got as far as like the buses or the weather and just came back into the park. And so we spent the first part of our day looking for socks.
They don't have like at Fun World, like a little like vending machine that you can...
Nope. We had to find socks and we had to find...
so you can go in the ball pit and or play Dance Dance Revolution.
We had to find socks and shoes because it wasn't going to do us any good to find new socks. Her shoes were also soaked. So we found her.
Yeah, I mean, if you go into the ball pit at Fun World, you probably your shoes will be soaked too with pee-pee.
Anyway, we did eventually on Sunset Boulevard there in the Hollywood Studios park, did eventually find socks that would fit all of us. So we all changed our socks. And we found a pair of Crocs that Kaylee could wear, which again...
Crocs and socks? Are you fucking kidding me?
Crocs and socks. That's... Crocs and socks. Crocs and socks.
I don't want that to be the show title.
No. Just a description maybe.
All right.
Are you kidding me? So we found that, and then we did because they had extended the opening. They had made the opening earlier, right before we went to the on vacation. We were able to get a fast pass for Slinky Dog Dash, which was the pièce de résistance of Toy Story Land, which is right next to Galaxy's Edge, and also was having like a 3-hour long wait every day we were there. So the only day we got to go on it was this first day. But guess what, Steve? Guess what? That ride, not a water ride, except when we went on it. So we had the fast pass. When we get into line, we have just put on brand new socks and whatever, right?
Brand new socks and brand new Crocs, baby.
Yeah. And we have ponchos, and we're all ready to go. And we're like, all right, maybe it'll die down by the time we actually get on the ride. Nope. The rain got to be probably the worst it was that day as soon as we got on the roller coaster. And I don't know if you've ever been on a roller coaster in the pouring rain. It's actually really fun if you approach it from the right perspective. So we it was one of the most fun experiences I had the entire time. Arms in the air. It was so ridiculous that they were even still running the ride because the rain was flying right into our face. But we just had a blast. And so by contrast to where I started off talking about, where Melody didn't want to go on a ride, like she almost didn't want to go on this one. But we're like, you've been talking about this for a year plus. Like before we even finalized that we were going to do this, you're like, I'm going on Slinky Dog. I'm going on 3 times. Like, you got to go on. And she did go on and she loved it. And I think part of that was that we all decided we're just going to go cuckoo bananas and enjoy the water ride version. Slinky Dog, if you're not familiar, this is
I've
Slinky Dog,
seen the
right?
goddamn movie.
So there's a
I haven't seen the second one though.
There's 4 of them now.
I haven't seen the fourth one either.
Okay.
I've only seen the odd numbered ones.
Okay, got it. It's like the opposite of Star Trek. In Star Trek, you want to see the even numbered ones, but in Toy Story, I guess you want to see the odd numbered ones.
Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of
Search
Khan.
for Spock is good.
Okay. Well, I think a lot of people like point at Wrath of Khan and then Voyage Home, and then Undiscovered Country, I think, is 6.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That's the one.
We're almost done with TNG, so we might need to seek out the TNG movies so Becky can be like, "What the fuck did you do to these characters?
Why not watch
Fucking Rick Berman."
Why not watch Deep Space Nine?
I don't know.
Anyway, so we want a Slinky Dog, and that's maybe, I guess, where I'll wrap it up. But there's a point in the Slinky Dog roller coaster where you come to a complete stop, and the theme of
is like Jim Varney, the voice of the Slinky Dog, in the
is Jim Varney still
no?
still alive?
He died a long time ago.
No,
but he was originally the voice of the Slinky Dog.
So if it's not archival footage, not archival recordings of Jim Varney, it's the guy who's been doing it since Jim Varney died, who is really damn good at it. So it sounds like Jim Varney, even if it's not Jim Varney. But you come to a complete stop, and that's where the rain was its worst. And it was almost like they were deciding, are we going to have them go the rest of this ride, or are we going to like pull them off? Because we sat there for twice as long as anybody else. And the backstory of the land and the ride is that you're in Andy's backyard, and you come to a complete stop because he's set up his own sort of backyard roller coaster, and the part you're at is this series of hoops that's going to propel you from like 0 to 60. Probably not 0 to 60, but like, because it is a younger kids coaster. But we sat there for a really fucking long time getting poured on, and then finally we went, and we had, you know, a few more screams, and it was grand, but we were all wet again.
Right.
So I mean,
we made it 2 more days through. That we did
well. We made it halfway through this day, and the most important part of this day is yet to come, which is, you know, we went to Star Wars Land. We went.
I thought you talked about that.
We went to I talked about getting the chance to go on it, but that was a chance to go on it later in the day.
Well, don't spoil the ride for people, Chris.
I won't spoil.
Just say I went to Star Wars Land and I had a grand old time.
No, I gotta
and
talk.
And then we could talk about Jim Varney for another half an hour.
No, we gotta talk about Star Wars Land, because I think it will tie into some of the stuff that we've been talking about in terms.
Do you remember the show Hey Vern, It's Ernest? It used to be on either before or after Garfield and Friends.
Oh. No, I don't remember. What should I remember that?
Probably.